Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About It. Let's talk about it. I am super excited to be here today. I enjoy these Thursday conversations, and I am especially excited because Sis is here.
Yeah, hey, Sis. Yeah, and we have so much to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do. Well, we're going to get started, but I want to thank you all for always tuning in and supporting. So make sure that you like, comment, and share. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section, but make sure that you share. And I was looking around for what we could talk about this week that would be exciting. And as I was going through Google University and looking at different things, I came up with you vent. Our topic today is you vent. Now, you guess you say you vent. What in the world?
Not you verse, but you vent, huh?
You vent. But May is National Inventors Month. In 1998, a group of organizations assisted in initiating this holiday. Millions enjoy celebrating annually, recognizing the contributions of inventors to society and celebrating their creativity and innovation. And I guess you say, well, I don't want to know about inventions. Hey, we never stop to think, what if someone had not taken the time to come up with different things? Because we have all these conveniences, we take a lot of things for granted. So why not recognize some of the individuals with some positivity sometimes. But I found these. I'm going to go ahead and give them to you. And these, it was referenced as 5 fun facts about favorite inventions. The first one is Game Boy. And it says Gapi, which I'm probably mispronouncing his name, Yokia, the inventor of Game Boy, started his career at Nintendo, maintaining assembly line machines, when the CEO on a visit to his plant noticed him playing with his homemade toy. So it was just something that he made himself to do. And look at Nintendo and Game Boy today. Still going strong. Another one, the chocolate chip cookie.
Wow.
I know my husband and my youngest grandson, they can eat some chocolate chip cookies. Well, guess what? A lady by the name of Ruth Wakefield is known for making the first chocolate chip cookie. It says she sold her delicious invention to Nestle for $1 and a lifetime supply of their chocolate. Now, I was thinking about that thing. I said, $1? I said, was she rich? I mean, but she couldn't imagine what they were going to do with them chocolate chip cookies.
$1.
$1. Hey, now this one right here, they was talking about traffic lights. I didn't get angry, but it says John Peake Knight invented the traffic light in England. But I know about Garrett Morgan inventing the traffic light in the United States. I don't know what they're talking about. And then the last one, because it's just amazing how people sit around and how they come up with different inventions, and we think, oh, I couldn't do it without this, and I know I couldn't do it without this one. I keep them everywhere. Band-Aids. It says Earl Dixon, an employee of Johnson & Johnson, invented what we know today as the Band-Aid because his wife would often cut and burn herself while cooking. So he created a bandage prototype for her to use at home.
Really?
Wow. I'm so glad she was burning and cooking.
Wow.
So we're going to, at the end of this, I'm going to discuss how you can celebrate this iconic month and what it should mean to you. To me, I got a deep thought out of this. What do you think about it, Carol?
Well, I was just kind of Googling a little bit some fun facts on inventions, and like you said, so many amazing things. But I'm still stuck on the chocolate chip cookie for $1. You know, and that is one thing. As we start talking about different things, how important it is to understand the value of what you're doing. Sometimes we take things for granted, and then, like you say, you know, some of those inventions just came around because they were tinkering around with things and fumbling around, but they saw a need for something. And so when you see a need there, that means there's a problem and you look for a solution. But just amazing. So many. I had one. I think it was, one I looked up just now was Vaseline. Petroleum jelly. We call it Vaseline, but that's what it was. And I can't find it right now. But wait a minute. Let me see. Well,
I don't know, girl. You need to find that because I can't live without my Vaseline.
And that's what I was just about to say. I can't. I'll look through it. But how important it is for us to have some Vaseline. And it is, when I saw this, it said whoever it was, I'm going to eventually find it. He would take a spoonful of whatever, that petroleum jelly every night. But I'm going to find it before we leave, because I was like, what? The way I love Vaseline, no, my skin's so dry. Lotion, and I don't care how much lotion you put, whatever how expensive it is. The bottom line is, I got to put some Vaseline.
I mix it up, girl. I keep me a lot of Vaseline with that lotion and mix it up real good.
And I have a friend, Fred. He's always telling us, if anything go wrong, put some Vaseline on it. Vaseline solves every problem. And I think that's why it caught my attention. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what we're going to talk about tonight. And what a great opportunity for us to even get more intrigued by just looking at some of the fun facts. So many things we take for granted that somebody invented that. Yes. And then I was reading, and it says in every year they're celebrating new inventors. So there's a possibility for any of us to become an inventor of something. So I'm looking forward to our conversation tonight.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to start out with Carol, and I know a lot of y'all going to love this one.
Okay, well, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct. Oh, let's see. I've got the karaoke machine. Yes. His name is Daisuke, and the last name is Inoue. And so it is Daisuke, Daisuke, and then the last name is Inoue. But was a Japanese inventor, and he built the very first karaoke machine. He built the very first karaoke machine, and he was a Japanese businessman, best known for the karaoke machine. But he was a musician in his youth, employed in the business, backing business people they just wanted to sing in bars. Invented the machine as a means of allowing these people to sing without live backup. So he did, but here's the sad part, sis, that I read about him. He, like the $1 cookie, he didn't patent this.
What?
No, he didn't patent it. So it says that he did not patent his machine, and so he did not directly profit from patenting this machine because he didn't patent it. And so, but even though he didn't patent it, somebody else came along and put it out there too. So he didn't get full credit for it. But it says he never stopped working on it, even though this other person, I wrote it down, but I didn't have it in my notes. But he did not know. Robert Rosario was from the Philippines, and he patented, and it was called a -1 in 1980. But it appears to be a collaborative development, created a prototype called the Inoue's 8 Juke or Juke 8. But he won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2004 and 2005. He was the most influential Asian in the century in 1999 and was the subject of the Japanese biological film Karaoke. So he didn't patent it, but he still was able to continue to work on something. And they said he did include patenting a pesticide for karaoke machine. So sometimes it's not bad to have collaboration, but let me just encourage you, if you're tinkering with something and you think you have a bright idea, you need to get it patented till you get it figured out as to what you want, so you can get the credit for it. So that's on the invention for Inoue is his last name. Daisuke is his first name. So Inoue Daisuke was the first person to build or introduce a karaoke machine so people could go out and sing without a live backup.
Wow. And that's amazing, because I know I had to buy one of those, I think 2 Christmases ago for one of my granddaughters. So they are still, everybody wants a karaoke machine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a friend. They have family karaoke night. So everybody comes ready for that. Yeah.
So that's a good one. All righty. Now, the next one I have, it's Dynamite. So you're going to say, why do you want to talk about Dynamite? But the Dynamite part is really not the most interesting thing that came out of my research on this guy. But this is Alfred Nobel. Mm-hmm. He invented dynamite. Now, he invented dynamite and something called gelianite, the most powerful explosives known at the time. But he always envisioned that they would be used to the benefit of mankind. So, he didn't know it was going to come to this frightful thing where it was like being sold for wholesale destruction used in wars. That was not what he invented it for. But when it really came to light for him, it was one morning he got up to read the newspaper, and we say he wasn't in the best of health, but his obituary was in the newspaper. And, and it said that he was in there, but the newspaper had him listed as the killer, saying that he killed off prematurely so many people, that he was described as the man who became rich by finding a way to kill more people faster than ever before.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Well, he never liked war, and they had got him mixed up with his brother, but reading what people thought of him really changed him. So where he did have money, because he was selling all this dynamite, this is where the Nobel Peace Prize came from. He decided to use that money to help those that were in the field of science and medicine at the time, but we know that it has spread. So that is how the Nobel Peace Prize came about, because he read his obituary saying he was a killer for that dynamite that he created. So you never know when you're creating something that you may create it for one use, but people can find many, many uses for it. Some of those could be good, but again, some not so good.
Yeah. Wow.
I thought that was interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. But he turned that negative situation around and made it something, because like you said, now we all know about the Nobel Peace Prize, and that's awesome based upon that. Well, I'm going to do the inventor for, everybody loves this one, video games. Yes. I think it changed the world, changed our young people focus because of the video games. But his name is, the video person name is Ralph Henry Baer. He was born March the 8th, but he was a German-born American inventor, and an inventor and game developer and engineer. But Baer was a Jewish family. His Jewish family fled from Germany just before World War II, and Baer served in the American war effort, gaining an interest in electronics shortly thereafter. But through several jobs in the electronic industry, he was working as an engineer at Saunders Associate, now called the BAE System, in Nassau, New Hampshire, when he conceived the idea of playing games on a television screen around 1966. Seemed like it was way before then, but 1966, with supportive. Now listen, one thing I do know from doing this research, it's okay to have people you collaborate with, but you want to get your credit as well. But he, along with some other people that he was working with, playing games, and conceived the idea of playing games on television screen in 1966 with support of his employers. He worked through several prototypes until he arrived at what he called a brown box that would later become the blueprint for the first home video game console. So it started out being a brown box. But listen, now this is going to really date probably me, but it was licensed by Magnavox. And years ago, that was one of the biggest TV kind of television you could own, was a Magnavox television, Yeah. But he was licensed by Magnavox as the Magnavox Odyssey. Baer continued to design several other consoles and computer game units, including contributing to the design of Simon Electronic Games. Baer continued to work in electronics until his death in 2014, but he ended up with 150 patents to his name. So he is, because of that, he is known as the father of video games due to the many contributions he made, helping spark the video game industry in the latter half of the 20th century. And so in 2006, he was awarded a National Medal of Technology for his groundbreaking and pioneering creation, development, and commercialization of interactive video games who spawned related uses and applications in the mega industry in both the entertainment and educational realms. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Ralph Baer, we can thank him for the brown box and the video game and coming up with the blueprint for the first home video game console. That was Ralph Baer.
That's something else.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see, if you just joined us, our topic is Uvent. And hey, you can be sitting around knitting or looking at lightning, doing some of anything, and come up with an invention. But remember to get it patented.
Yeah, get it patent. Don't just put it out there and not get it patent. Yes.
Yeah. All righty. Our next one is I'm sorry, Emmett Chappelle. Mm-hmm. He's an American scientist, and he's an African American. And he was known for his bioluminescence techniques. And he had U.S. patent number 3,423,290. Mm-hmm. He was also in the military, but he loved science and all those type things. And he worked with different chemicals and combinations of chemicals. And he discovered different types of plants and organisms and how much light different plants needed and different innovations of those types. But he was really, really big in biology and chemistry. He was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and he studied at the University of Washington, and he earned his master's in biology. And he began exploring the qualities of light and how they give off different life forms. It says he was in charge of developing the instruments used to scrape soil from Mars on NASA's Viking probe. Oh, so he did a lot of neat things. It said Chappelle realized how chemicals gave off a measurable light when mixed with materials containing living cells. He applied this to detect bacteria in urine, blood, spinal fluids, drinking water, and foods. So you see, he started out with science, but sometimes when we go to the hospital and they say we have to take this test and that test and whatever, but because of the greatness of Emmett, he helped to discover by taking our urine and our blood and doing different tests, they can find out what's going on in our bodies. So that is just amazing. But he loved all those type things, and he also helped them to learn how to grow healthy crops. Now I think they're getting away from that, but his thing was to do things the right way, to do your planting, your irrigation, and following those fertilization patterns that would help you have a good product of healthy foods. So yes, so we can be proud of Mr. Emmett Chappelle.
Mm-hmm. And isn't that amazing that, we are trying, some are trying to eat better and eat healthier, but now that the organic food is out, it's so expensive. It's almost like we can't hardly afford it. But anyway, that's just another way that probably Mr. Chappelle, we can thank him for, making us look at the various ways of eating healthy and that kind of thing. So yay for him. Well, listen, all ladies, single ladies or married ladies, need to just stop and honor Miss Ruth R. Benerito. I think it's Benerito. Listen, she invented no iron clothes.
Hallelujah.
That's what I said. Woo, thank you, Lord. No, my hat goes off to her, but she's from New Orleans. And it says, Miss Ruth, she saved the cotton industry with wrinkle-resistant cotton and contributed to the developments of no iron clothes. Synthetic clothing made with nylon and spandex together. I guess those two combinations would help. And she did this in 1930 and 1940 through 1940. But in collaboration, we sometimes need some people to help us.
That's right.
Collaboration with Brook Brothers. That used to be a well-known store. But the Brook Brothers with DuPont, you remember that word, DuPont?
Yep.
With introducing no iron. Sometimes you need, that's what I said, sometimes you need somebody to help you with the invention to move it forward. But she ended up with 55 patents. She also helped with the advancement of fabric science. So she was in science as well for stain resistant. Now she done created the no iron clothes. We happy for that. But then she came up with stain resistant and flame retardant qualities. I like Miss Ruth. Thank you, Miss Ruth. But for her invention of ironing, because I don't know about you, but 100% cotton might look nice, but that 100% cotton is the hardest thing in the world to iron. But thank Miss Ruth Benerito for her involvement and her, and I didn't write all this down, but she had an opportunity, was one of the first ladies to be able to go into college where she was in order for her to come up with this invention of wrinkle-free, wrinkle-resistant cotton. And that way she was able to make such a great contribution to now we can wash them and shake them and hang them up and not have to worry about pulling out the iron. And
thank you.
And finding, a long time ago, we had to find the starch and put the starch in some water and mix it all together so it would look nice. But thank you, Miss Ruth, for your contribution. That all women are probably saying, thank you for that, for her doing what she did in this, helping us in this. But this has been so interesting to look at these inventors. I mean, learning so much from them. Yeah, couldn't tell everything, but we hope we're encouraging someone to go and dig further into what they did.
Right. And think, these people aren't any smarter than some of you out there. So, hey, you can be thinking, well, I made this and I use it. I never thought about having a patent or selling it to a big company. You better get thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying about her education. She went to school in 1935 where they said, she was fortunate enough to receive an education during a time when women didn't really too much go off to school, but she was in chemistry at Sophia Newcomb College. I've never heard of that. But in Tulane, she got her master's degree. But, being arts person out, maybe where women weren't going into that and looking into that. And now we're able to celebrate her invention.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you to her.
Yes.
Now, everybody should be up shouting too about this one right here, because y'all I love to talk on the phone. Woo! Hey, even back to aging myself when we had the party line.
I was just about to say that, the party line, girl.
I guess kids on a party line. What are you talking about? It wasn't no party, but you had to share a line with somebody. So you pick up the phone, your neighbor or somebody across town might be on the phone, so you got to wait till they finish.
and never knew if they would continue to listening to your conversation.
Yes. But I thought what was so interesting about him, and if y'all have thought about, well, how did she pick these people? But if you kind of look, I actually used the acronym Inventors. And so either the invention or their name started with the letter. So that's how I did this. But Mr.
Very creative.
Alexander Graham Bell, he, of course, is most known for inventing the telephone. But it says that he founded the Bell Telephone Company in 1877. And then he went to work on other inventions, including flying machines, which I didn't know that until I did this research. It says, in addition, He's known for establishing the scientific uh, facilities at Volta Laboratory, the American Association to Promote Teaching of Speech to the Deaf in Science. And I actually heard Pastor Herb Ford say when he was on Coach's Burning the Book program last week that Alexander Graham Bell's, I think, two of his relatives had hearing problems. So it was in working on something to help them that they needed him with his telephone and all these, telegraphic things that he did. So, you can just imagine you have loved ones and they're going through something or you're going through something. You think about how did somebody invent the artificial leg? Well, they knew somebody that they could benefit if they had another limb. So if these people could do it, you could do it too. And I am going to keep saying that because I think that is so relevant. Y'all are so smart, intelligent. You have different ways of getting information. I think many of our generation X, Y, Z, they are born knowing how to do things with their hands. So this is just amazing to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love it.
And that's what we just kind of said, where there's a problem, there's a solution. And so that's how these inventions probably started. There was a problem, there was a need, there was something they saw that they wanted to help somebody with. And that started their mind to working to see and do the research. And like you just said, Deborah, now we have so much access to being able to research from our fingertips. And so, yes, we want to encourage the young people to definitely that one idea that you think is so insignificant, research it and see and continue to see if you can find something. But don't, like I said, get it patent if you come up with some, but do not hesitate to reach out, because there may be somebody else who can collaborate with you to help you move your invention or your thought or your idea even further. So yeah, don't think just because they did it that you can't do it either.
Yeah, and I didn't think about this until you were saying that, but I think I gave a speech last week or so, excuse me. But in it, I was talking about Shahid Khan, who owns Jacksonville Jaguars. And one of his businesses that he started was he worked for this place called Flexingate, and they made bumpers. But he made a far superior bumper. So just because someone has invented something, if you know about a material or a way something is built and it could be so much better, that's something new. You can probably patent that and get paid. He started with a bumper. Just think about it.
And like you said, so many. Just think about this. When we went long time ago, Grandma and them used to just cook the cake, and they'd stir with that big spoon, and they'd stir all the ingredients. Then we came up. Somebody invented the hand mixer, the one you just stick that hole. And so that was somebody thinking stirring could be done easier, and they invented that mixer. But then the mixer got where it got, what's this thing where you got the bowl and the mixer to go with it?
I don't know what you call
a
them,
food processor or something.
Yeah.
So you can always look to make something better. Just because it started out being one thing, you can look to see what you can do to figure out something better, because we're always looking for the easier way to get something.
Yes. I mean,
easier way to get something.
Salads, people make a salad bar at home and they take and cut the stuff up. Now they got little machines, you can put it up there and make the little veggies all swirls and roses and stuff. So hey, somebody invented that.
Yes, they did. They really did. And with a problem of cutting up all those vegetables, now we got an easier way to get it done and can make it pretty. So yeah, I agree with that. Well, the next inventor is, and I can truly say that I've had family members who've experienced having a pacemaker. It has saved many of their lives. But his name is Otis Borkin. And let me just take my hands off and be proud because he is from Dallas, Texas.
Oh.
So this is my homeboy I'm talking about now because I live in Mesquite, but that's Dallas County. But he was born in Dallas and he attended Booker T. Washington. And back then, Booker T. Washington was the all-black school. And he graduated as valedictorian in his class. And it was not in during that time, it might have been a very nice area for blacks to live in, but it went through its transition and now they're building it up again. But anyway, he graduated valedictorian and he created the electrical capacitor in 1965 and then an electrical resistant capacitor in 1967. But he also was responsible for looking at guided missiles and the IBM computer and the pacemaker. That's what we're going to talk about him, the pacemaker. Now listen, a pacemaker is a small battery-powered device implanted in the chest to help the heart beat at a regular rate. It sends electrical impulses to the heart when it dictates or detects a slow or irregular heartbeat. The pacemakers are used to treat various heart rhythm disorder, including its bradycardia, which means slow heartbeat. But he attended Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee in 1941. His scholarship meant, look at this, his scholarship meant he was required to work alongside the college's aerospace laboratory. That's a good setup, girl, right there.
Yes.
A great setup, which furthered his pursuit because he had to work there at the college aerospace laboratory. It furthered his pursuit in electronics. Now, he earned his first patent in 1959. But today we celebrate and we're excited. And we know, like I said, I'm sure you too, Deborah, know people who had to have a pacemaker. But
Yes.
that pacemaker helps regulate and detect that heartbeat. And that can be a way that people's lives have been, prolonged, or they've been able to live with inserting that pacemaker to help that heartbeat regulate. So I promise you, I did not know this man until today, till we started doing this. And I looked and I said, from Dallas, that means it doesn't matter where we're from. We've looked at various inventors from across the country, across, the United States, but also across the world. But when you can find somebody that you say is your homeboy, you're excited about that. I'm so proud of him. And to know that his invention has helped so many people, and being able to say that he's worth celebrating for Black History Month as well. But anyway, so many people have benefited from that little pacemaker, small, but also so important to prolong someone's life. So Otis Borkin from Dallas, Texas, I salute him, my homeboy, for the pacemaker.
All right, give it up for Texas.
Texas, we in the house.
Oh, okay. Now I know a lot of people are gonna like this because believe it or not, this thing here is still selling.
Okay.
Woo-hoo. And I probably will mispronounce his name because he's Hungarian, but I'm gonna say Inoue Rubik. But I know Rubik is right.
Yeah.
The Rubik's Cube. Yes, and he was a Hungarian architect and inventor. And it says, while Rubik became famous for inventing the Rubik's Cube and his other puzzles, much of his recent work involves the promotion of science and education. So he loves doing educational work. Rubik said that space always intrigued me with its incredible rich possibilities. Space alteration by objects, transformation in space, movement in space and in time, their correlation, their repercussions on mankind, the relationship between man and space, the object and time. He says, I think the cube arose from this interest from the research that I did. And this is how he built this thing. This is amazing. He started with blocks of wood and rubber bands. It says Rubik set out to create a structure that would allow the individual pieces to move without the whole structure falling apart.
Wow.
So he used the wood because he could get into this workshop at the university. And so he built that. And it says that he made the original prototypes of by hand, cutting the wood, boring the holes, and using elastic bands to hold it. He called it a contraption, holding this contraption together. So then he was a professor. So he showed the prototype to his class, and he said the students liked it very much. And so he realized because of its simple construction, maybe he could get it manufactured from someone. But over in Hungary, he said wasn't a lot of manufacturers because of the economy, and it was a communist nation at that time. Mm-hmm. But eventually he was able to find a small company that worked with plastic and chess pieces, and the cube was originally known as in Hungary as the magic cube.
Okay.
And then in 1979, it was the magic cube was then sold, I guess, to Ideal Toys, and Ideal rebranded it as the Rubik's Cube.
Wow.
Yeah. So it says the early prototype went into mass production and all of that, going from the model they made in Hungary to coming over to Ideal, and all of that took 6 years. But it says it became an instant success worldwide, won several Toy of the Year awards, and became a staple of 1980s popular culture. To date, over 350 million Rubik's Cubes have been sold. Now, I don't know what that date was, because like I say, I still see them in different places being sold. Mm-hmm. But, everybody was trying to break that thing.
Trying to do that Rubik's Cube, yep. But isn't that something, Deborah, that I think from this we're learning that you may not be successful with your first try, but the patience of not giving it up, reaching out to to his students, or reaching out to get someone else's help to bring in more minds that can help you finish your or some other ideas to put with it to make you a success. So, but the patience with the rubber bands and all that, I'm like, man, sometimes even in the Rubik's Cube, I'll be like, I can't do this today.
That wasn't my thing.
This just requires too much. So, and I got a couple of nephews, they still got one or two of them that they play with, and one of them, he's just very bright. He just masters it every time. So we like, okay, whatever. Yeah, that fast he can do it. Yeah. Wow, what we're learning tonight about these inventors, amazing. So never thought about the Rubik's Cube. And what'd you say it was at first when he first started tinkering with it? The Rubik's Cube.
Magic
that
cube.
Wasn't the magic cube, and then went to Rubik's Cube. Okay. Well, I know this last one, probably everybody gonna raise up their phone, because I'm an Android girl, but this is still, we know, Steve, I know, iPhone. Go ahead, give it up for the iPhone. But Steve Jobs, okay. Very interesting. A lot of stuff I just didn't know, but I hope I'm putting it all in this order. But he was the founder of Apple Inc., and it was his first invention Then he had Apple I computer, followed by the second generation of Apple II. He also was a part of the Macintosh computer. And of course, he introduced the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod to all Apple enthusiasts. All up the Apple stuff. Okay. But anyway, he also had Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were founders of Microsoft. Microsoft and Apple. So looked like some collaboration had to go on there. But this is what I didn't know. He was the first, he did the first computer animated film called Toy Story in 1995. And when you think about it, I mean, that's what he did. He bridged that gap, how you could see how he was. Now you can think about how they were moving and just a lot of things in that. But anyway, but he revolutionized the relationship between individual computer technology, revolutionized personal computers, media consumption, and communication. Where would we be without these little small computers now, or computers? It really helped us to be able to communicate better. And I think I remember in school getting my first computer from work, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. What? But anyway, and then we look at today, we're able to look at each other from wherever because of some media that he still had a part of. But they said Steve's last invention was iPhone 5. And his one thing I did read about him, he was adopted by his parents. I think their name, well, I don't know if I wrote it down or not, but yeah, I did. Let me just go ahead. Steve's last word, he passed away, was "oh wow, oh wow." He was a genuinely, they said they thought he was genuinely enthusiastic and filled with the wonder even when facing death. Now, that was one of the analogies that they said. His sister, his biological sister, because he did reunite with his family. And I don't know why I didn't write. I wrote that down, the mom and dad name. But anyway, they were both last name Joe, but his real parents put him up for adoption because of different races. Well, I think the dad was Syrian and the mother was something else. So they were young, and they had put down that they wanted him to be adopted to a family who had, I guess, was smart and, was intellectually bright. So they ended up this family ended up adopting them. I don't know where I put it, but anyway, the first family that backed out of adopting him, and then his family, the Jobs, were the ones who adopted him. But here's the thing that I learned. Steve, his biological sister was Monica. She stated that he said in his last word, "oh wow, oh wow." But there's several different reasons that people say he said that. But his Steve was married to his wife Lauren. I think they said they had 3 children. His first child, they said, he did not acknowledge, and he built the first Apple Macintosh or something was named with her in mind, but he did not acknowledge her for a long, long time. But out of all of the money that they had, that he had, he left, he disinherited his children. He did not leave any money, any fortune to his children. And it says Steve and his wife, Lauren, did not leave his fortune to his children. Why? Because they said she and her husband did not feel that their children needed financial support, particularly as their children had benefited from a different type of education and her own experience of rejection and lack of support. So his wife now has this huge charitable organization that she is just giving out his, passing it on, and those kids are not getting anything. So Steve was awesome. They did say that he probably didn't get along with a lot of people. He was just really smart, and people couldn't hardly relate to him. But so I think they said he had probably not a lot of personal skills, but the bottom line, I just want to say, no matter how much money you have, there's still going to be some family drama and conflicts. So money does not excuse family problems and that kind of thing. So when we're having our little family problem, just know money doesn't solve everything. Right. It does not solve everything. But Steve Joe, he's done a lot of things as far as technology. And that's what I thought. He was so brainy that he probably didn't have a lot of social skills, but he was able to invent these things. And we're definitely able to benefit from his contribution to the inventions. So that's Steve Jobs from Apple.
Yep. Yeah, and he's very interesting person. And I think he started college, but then he dropped out. So again, that shows you college is not for everybody. He was just brilliant, So
he was a college dropout.
Yeah. Parents need to listen to their kids when they say, hey, I don't want to go to college because this is what I want to do. And if they have the skills and abilities to do that thing, and college is something that you're making do, and it's just for the money and to have a piece of paper, as Coach can say, why?
Yeah, let them find their own way. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes as parents, we put our own dreams and expectations. We want them to be successful, but sometimes we have to allow them to have their own dreams. And everybody don't evolve at the same time. Just because a person is 18, there's so many differences between the age 18 that kids can go in different ways. So I think we have to be supportive and encouraging for them to find their own way and to be able to know that you're going to be successful in whatever way you choose. You're not going to just do nothing, okay? Yes. We're not advocating doing absolutely nothing, but to find that trade or find that work ethic that's going to help you to become successful in whatever you do. So but very interesting. Never look, we hear about Steve. I think you write about him in your book, but just never looked in depth about, like you said, his behaviors and those kind of things. And so a lot to learn from just looking at personalities is what I guess I'm thinking about.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. But sis, I think we're at the end, huh?
So I think I enjoyed it myself. So I hope that y'all did as well. I hope you will share it. But I think it was amazing. But I do have two other people. I'm going to go real quickly to tell you about them. But I've just found them today. For some reason, I was looking for something. But I thought, wow. And both of these are African Americans. The first one is Sarah Boone. And she was a dressmaker and inventor. And she was the one that created the ironing board.
Oh!
Yep, it says she received her patent in 1892, and she became one of the first Black women in American history to be awarded one.
Wow.
Yep, and the other one, I know you ladies like this one. His name is Jan Matzliger. It's Matzeliger. He was born in, it says, Suriname, known as Dutch Guiana. He came up with a revolutionary shoemaking technology. Yep. So historically, the body of the shoe had to be attached to the sole by hand as part of a process called lasting. However, in 1883, he invented a lasting machine which held the shoe in place and mechanically nailed the pieces together. It could produce 700 pairs of shoes per day, more than 10 times the number of shoes a person could complete. Kudos.
Wow. Yeah.
Kudos.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Well, I did find the one about the petroleum jellies. Inventor. Robert, I don't know if I can say Cheesebroer, Chesebroughh. Listen, it says he ate a spoonful every day and claimed it had health benefits, and he lived to be 96 years old. That this was on some of the fun facts. Not, I didn't go into details, but that's what he was saying. They said the petroleum jelly inventor was him, and he ate a spoonful. My friend Fred would love to hear about this because he says Vaseline cures everything. So anyway, but yeah, this has been a great conversation. I really enjoyed. I really learned a lot, and like you said, we just want to encourage everybody to don't think because that's a small idea, it's not a good idea.
Yes.
And to pursue it. And if it's a problem, get curious about that problem and start looking for ways that that challenge you to be able to dig a little deeper and enjoy, even while you're digging, there's a time that you will enjoy it. But look for designing a solution. That's the main thing. If it's a problem, there has to be a solution. So you're looking at the problem and you're being able to come up with ways that perhaps that you can solve that problem. But also, I had something else. Don't hesitate to collaborate. I think that's what my takeaway is. If you got the idea, I'm gonna call Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah, what you think about it? So you need somebody else. Two got to be better than one. But you put your minds and hearts together and just think of some of the things that you could begin to solve the problem of something that's so needed. So this has been great.
Yeah, and I would tell you at the end some ways that you can celebrate. And it's been all month, so I apologize that I just thought about doing it at the end of the month, but you still have time. But they say you can highlight inventors. That's something that we did today. If you work in children's ministry, that would be amazing for them. Note the importance of intellectual property and patent protection. So get your invention patent. You don't know how to do it, don't go putting it on Facebook. I'm gonna give anybody know, because you look around and your invention gone. So, but find out
how to share that.
Yes. Okay, it says celebrating the history of innovation and the impact of inventions on society, and just think about all these inventions and how they have helped us. Just think about if Bell hadn't invented the telephone, would we have gotten to smartphones and stuff like that? The ironing board, the permanent press clothes, was baby ironing and some more of my things. I iron something and damn, look at it, he's like, oh, you need me to iron that for you? I won't say I already did.
That is too funny.
But the most important takeaway we want for you is to encourage you that innovation and creativity, especially among you young people, is something that you can do. Go out there and get it done. You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
So please, everyone, please share this. I think that this will be beneficial for years and years to come. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Maybe a little bit too much, but I had fun.
Just amazing how you never, like I said, never thought about where these things come from. And like you said, that we take so many things from. I mean, we flick on the light. We're like, it's supposed to come on. It had to be a problem. Somebody was trying to do something, and we thank God for Thomas Edison. But just look how far it has advanced. And I love what you said. Just because someone has invented one thing, you can look at it and see where things could become better. We hats off to Alexander Graham Bell for the phone, but we're excited about these smartphones and iPhones and all that kind of thing. So it was a way to make it better. Who would have thought we hold that party line now can be held in our hands and be able to have a private conversation. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yep. And I know years and years ago, I used to say, boy, I'm so glad people can't see me when I'm on the phone because the faces I be making. Well, guess what? Now they can.
Now you're right. You're absolutely right. So we just have to, evolve to that next level of invention and somebody taking something and making it better. Because, I mean, even just to think about, we didn't know anything about StreamYard and what's the other one we use before we start using StreamYard? Zoom and all that. And being in a crisis of having the dilemma of, COVID, we learned some new things and some new innovations. And look at so many now, some of them having to go back to work, but think about how people started working from home. That was one of the big things, and how we can meet, and you can be in Florida and I can be in Texas. Look and see each other. That is amazing.
Yes.
So amazing. Yeah. So thank God we're able to experience this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So thank you all so much, and share. And sis, I'll see you next month.
All right. I'm looking forward to it because, like you said, we have a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.